Denizens of the interwebs, this is Double V, and this is The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. This is one of those isometric view action RPGs, and we seem to be seeing quite a few of them lately. So needless to say, I wasn't really expecting much out of this, especially being that it's based on Van Helsing, which I find to be kind of a cheese franchise anyway. However, in this case, I was really pleasantly surprised. In fact, this game actually is one of the first games in a long time that has caused me to become lax in my daily duties and play it for 16 hours straight. Now, I check out new games all the time, and it's usually just, okay, play it for a minute, grab some footage in case I like it, and turn it off. I had every intention of doing that with this game, but it didn't quite turn out that way. Something about it grabbed me, made me want to play it, and got me to play it a lot. That little thing there you just heard was when I sent my little ghost companion to go shopping. The conversations between Van Helsing and his ghost companion Katarina are awesome. They really are. They're well voice acted, and the dialogue at times is genius. There's a lot of interacting with the environment. There's a lot of them discussing things about the story, and it has a nice immersive feel to it. And it manages to maintain that Van Helsing cheese that some people love so much. Although I must say the cheese is actually served quite well in this particular title. So how do you put the beat down on legendary creatures of yore? Well, it's not a whole lot different than other ARPGs that you might have played. You've got your main two abilities that are on your right and left mouse button, and you've got alternate effects that are on your 1, 2, and 3, special spells on the A and S, healing and mana pots on the Q and W. The main difference that I see between this and other ARPGs is the little augmentation thing that I talked about. Now you've got, say, your main skill on your left click. That has up to 3 augmentations that you can spend rage points that you build up by killing monsters to use. Now this turns what would have been an insanely simple combat system into a medium complex system. It's not complex. It's just enough. And if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, just enough is fine. Because if you want to face tank things, you do have to juggle a little bit. Although I did find that if you make a tanky build, it's not particularly difficult. But early on in the game, they pretty much serve you up some whoop ass. You can see the angry mob of werewolves chasing me down the street. Now I've got what in the early game is pretty optimal tanky build, and I can still only stand up to them for a few seconds. Which I like, you know. If I put it on the hardest difficulty setting, I want it to be hard. And for the most part it is, you know. If you play this on hardcore, hardest difficulty like I did, at some point you're going to die and you're going to start the game over. You know, I'd find it pretty hard to believe that a lot of people get through it without dying on the first try. If you get lucky and figure out certain game mechanics, or if you happen to look them up like a cheeser, you might get through it. But overall, I was pretty happy with the level of difficulty that it presents. Now it's interesting too, because there's no farming. You can't replay zones to level up or anything like that. The highest difficulty is the highest difficulty. You've got one playthrough on it. So not knowing what's going to come ahead, you got to be ready for the progression no matter what it is. It's kind of nice to see that in a game. That being said, once you have beaten the game, it's no longer interesting. This doesn't really have a huge amount of replay value, except for maybe speed running, which I don't think a lot of people are going to do. It would be nice to see them add an endgame where the difficulty kept scaling up infinitely, and then people could just see how far they could get. But this is all fantasy. I don't know if that's going to happen. What I can say, though, is that the game that's there is rock solid, and I highly recommend it. Now, most of what makes it rock solid is that it has just the right amount of loot whoring and story bits to keep it moving along nicely. The skill tree and character progression is great. You've got stat allocation, you've got lots of different builds you can experiment with. And, all in all, it's just a really good mix between gamey and cinematic. A really good mix. It's just well polished. And that's that. Now, I'm not feeling particularly funny today, so I think I'll just fast forward to an epic fight that I happened to catch on film when I did this. And that'll be that. So yeah, if you're interested in a really good ARPG, I highly recommend this one. The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. And enjoy the ridiculous fight that I accidentally stumbled into. Accidentally clicked on this scarecrow and epicness ensued. Anyway, Double V out.
I never liked scarecrows.
I wish I could make a joke about your childish worries, but the werewolves seem to agree with you. See how they avoid the scarecrow. potions. One less childhood trauma to cope with, right?
The best way to fight your demons is to beat them senseless.